Hi, I am Hamza Iqbal and welcome back to my YouTube channel Nightfall. I hope you all will be fine, so let's start the story. Without wasting time, in the outskirts of a small town stood St. Mark's Hospital, a sprawling structure that had been abandoned for decades. The once bustling medical facility was now overrun with vines, broken windows, and a silence so profound it seemed to echo its dark past. Rumors surrounded the hospital. Locals whispered about mysterious disappearances, ghostly figures seen through cracked windows, and the chilling screams that sometimes echoed in the dead of night. Most people avoided it entirely, but not Eric, Lisa, and Tom. The trio of thrill-seekers had decided to investigate the hospital for Eric's YouTube channel. It was the perfect spooky challenge to attract viewers. Armed with flashlights, a camera, and a lot of misplaced bravado, they entered the hospital as the sun dipped below the horizon. "All right, everyone," Eric said, pointing the camera at himself. "We're about to explore one of the most haunted places in the state. Let's see if the stories are true." The air inside the hospital was stifling, thick with the smell of mildew and decay. Their footsteps echoed down the empty halls, disturbing layers of dust that hadn't been touched in years. The group reached the reception area, where a decayed desk sat under a broken chandelier. Tom shined his flashlight at the wall, revealing graffiti scrawled in blood-red paint. "Leave or suffer." A creepy, Lisa whispered, shivering despite the warm night. As they ventured deeper into the hospital, strange things began to happen. The lights on their camera flickered, and their flashlights dimmed. Doors that had been closed were now open, and faint whispers seemed to follow them wherever they went. At one point, Lisa stopped abruptly. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Hear what?" Tommy replied nervously. "It sounded like a baby crying." They all froze, straining to hear. From somewhere down the hall, a faint, high-pitched wail echoed, sending chills down their spines. "Maybe it's just the wind," Eric suggested, though his voice betrayed his fear. Their exploration led them to the hospital's operating wing. Here, the air grew colder, and the walls were lined with rusted medical equipment. A lone operating table sat in the center of the largest room, its leather straps cracked and stained. Lisa walked over to the table, her flashlight trembling in her hand. "Do you think they experimented on people here?" Eric shrugged, filming the room. "Who knows, but it would make for a great story." Just as he spoke, the lights on his camera went out entirely. Panic set in as the group scrambled to get their equipment working. When the lights came back on, they saw it. A dark figure standing in the corner of the room. It was humanoid, but unnaturally tall, with elongated limbs and a face obscured in shadow. "Who's there?" Tom shouted, his voice cracking. The figure didn't move, but the temperature in the room dropped sharply. A loud, metallic clang sounded as a tray of surgical tools crashed to the floor, though no one was near it. "Let's get out of here," Lisa whispered, her voice trembling. As they retraced their steps, they realized the layout of the hospital seemed to have changed. Hallways that should have led to the exit now looped back on themselves, and doors that had been opened were locked. "This isn't right," Eric said, his bravado gone. They stumbled upon a staircase leading down to the basement. Faint sounds of shuffling feet and indistinct whispers seemed to rise from below. Against their better judgment, they descended. The basement was worse than anything they had encountered so far. The walls were covered in strange symbols drawn in a dark, sticky substance. Old patient files were scattered across the floor, their edges burnt. In the center of the room was a chair with restraints, surrounded by what looked like a circle of dried blood. "What the hell happened here?" Tom asked, his voice barely audible. Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, almost deafening. The shadows in the room seemed to move on their own, converging into the shape of a person. A blood-curdling scream erupted as the shadow lunged toward them. The group bolted up the stairs, their breaths coming in ragged gasps. The hospital seemed to fight them at every turn. Doors slammed shut in their faces, and the hallways seemed to stretch endlessly. "Over here," Lisa shouted, spotting a window with broken glass. They climbed out one by one, cutting their hands on the jagged edges, but too terrified to care. As they ran toward their car, they glanced back at the hospital. In one of the upper windows, the shadowy figure watched them, its glowing eyes burning into the night. Eric uploaded the footage the next day, but something was wrong. In every frame, the shadowy figure appeared, always just behind them. A week later, Eric's channel went silent. No one knew what happened to him or his friends, but locals say the lights in the abandoned hospital burn brighter than ever, and new whispers echo from its halls. Some say the hospital doesn't just haunt you, it claims you.